So as you can see, we had a pretty good amount of snow during Thanksgiving Day. And I thought I'd take you guys along and show you what my snow clearing duties look like when I have to do a full day of snow removal, which means taking care of my driveway, taking care of my road, taking care of my backyard, my deck, and part of my roof. Now, to show you all a few of the things that I bring with me whenever I'm going to do snow removal, which most of the time is going to be spent snow blowing. And you'll see that my road is pretty long, and I'm pretty much the one that snow blows that road. Anyone in Fairbanks watching this, if you have a plowing service, let me know. Let me know how much you charge. A few of the things that I bring is, of course, depending on how cold it is, I got my gloves. I've got my first layer gloves today because really it's only about 30 degrees outside, 30, maybe 27 or so. And it's not that cold. I've snow blowed my drive here wearing shorts and a t-shirt in 20-degree weather before when the sun was out and shining. However, I do put on this jacket, which is one of my old cold weather coats from when I was in the Army. I also bring along a knife just in case something gets stuck inside of the propeller or the impeller of the snowblower. Sometimes there's a piece of plastic or something like that gets stuck inside of there. I just go ahead and cut it out. And I also bring along some extra shear bolts. And these shear bolts are what hold the impeller onto the drive shaft of the snowblower. And the reason they call them shear bolts is because they're designed so that if, for example, you're humming along and you hit a piece of wood or a really big rock, instead of it damaging your drive shaft, these will break off easily and the impeller will just turn around freely and not really hurt the drive shaft or the motor of the snowblower. And I also have a wrench that I can take off and put on those shear bolts with. So that's usually what I carry around with me. Usually wearing this jacket is too much. Usually by the time I'm done with it, it's all sweaty inside. But being that my house is right here, I really don't run a risk of getting hypothermia, because if I do feel like I'm getting too cold because it's too sweaty, I just come on in, take it off, put something else on and finish the job. So let me go ahead and show you where I keep my snowblower, and I'll start it up and we'll get started. Now, while it's still fairly warm outside, I just keep my snowblower out here at the end of my driveway, and I cover it with a cover that I came with because I don't see a need to keep it inside the tent, and it's easier for me to get to. Also, when it gets like below 0 degrees, it's a lot harder to start. I found that it's really more difficult to start these when it's below 0 than it is when it's above 0 degrees. So let's say if it gets down to like 5 degrees or below, I'll start putting this in the tent that I have insulated. And then before I start it, I'll go ahead and put a heater in there for a few minutes so that I can warm up at least the engine block and the starter of this snowblower, because this snowblower has an electric start. However, I don't use it very much because the pull start on it works really well. So I'm going to go ahead and uncover this now, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. And maybe if I can find somewhere to put my high-tech camera here, I can show you how I started. So this is it right here. This is a HASQVARNA, and I'm not sure if I've ever told you guys the story of how I got this snowblower, but it's a really nice snowblower. And the way I got it is I went to the store. I went to Lowe's because they were having a sale, and they actually had these for about $300 off the list price. These normally go for about $1,500 or so, and they had them for like $1,200, and they had one left. And I told my wife, man, that's a great price for that snowblower. My previous snowblower was one of those little red Troy-built snowblowers, and it did the job, but it took a lot longer than what it takes with this one. So I said, you know what, let me think about it. It's $1,200. I'll come back tomorrow, and if it's still here, it was meant to be. I came back the next day, it was gone. Somebody had bought it. They were all out. They weren't going to get any more in that year. Anyway, so a while later, I was looking through Craigslist, and this snowblower was on sale on Craigslist for $700. So about half, if not a little less than half, of what it goes for brand new. And on the caption it said, this snowblower is brand new, I've only used it 2 times. So I called the number right away, and thankfully the guy only lived about, I don't know, maybe about 2 minutes out of my way, on my way home. So I met him that night, and I asked him, you know, I took a look at the snowblower, everything, and this thing is awesome. This thing even has hand warmers. So I took a look at it and everything, and he started it up. Everything ran fine. Everything worked fine. I'm like, why are you selling it for so cheap? And he said, well, I bought this snowblower in December for my father-in-law and used it a couple of times on his driveway, and his father-in-law passed away. And he didn't need the snowblower because he already had a snowblower of his own. So they were selling it. So unfortunately, you know, it was too bad that his father-in-law passed away. But that's how I got this one. He was selling it for $700. I ended up getting a great deal on it, and I'm glad I got it because this thing can throw some serious snow. One of the things that I really like about this snowblower is that it has a mechanical chute. So if I come over here and I handle this, I can move it up or down. See that? I can move it up or down from back here, or I can turn it either way I want from back here. Before, with my little Troy build, I had to actually stop and come down here where there was a little lever and turn the lever by hand. And like I said, this thing has hand warmers. So if I want to turn on the hand warmer, I turn that on, and the hand warmers are right here. Now, I found that the hand warmers really don't work very well when it's like -20, because what will happen is when you have your hands on here, it creates condensation and a little sheet of ice will build up down here. So for this temperature right here, around 30 degrees, 25 degrees above zero, great. But whenever it gets below zero, not that great. So these things are really easy to start. Just for those of you that may not be familiar with these, I just put this on run right here. I go ahead and prime it up. First, let's check and make sure it's got gas. I think I filled it up last time I used it. Yep, and it's full. You can see the level right there. I usually go through about 2 tankfuls every time that I snowblow. And then there is a gas shut off right here. Let me show you. There's a gas shut off right here that I have to make sure is on. And that's good. This right here, for those of you that don't know, this is an electric start. So if I wanted to use a power cord to start this, all I would have to do is plug the power cord in there, prime the gas, and push that button. And it will start right up. Very, very easy to start with electric start. But I only use that when I can't get it started by hand, or if it's super, super cold outside. So what I do is I prime it. Probably push this about 6-8 times. Make sure everything's on. Then I'm going to come around here. I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to, don't worry, I'm going to turn the noise down before I turn it on. Well, that's running over there. I'm letting it warm up for about a minute or two. I'll show you what else I do. I'm going to come over here and get all the snow off of this tent, off of my fuel tent, and off of the tent where I have my generator. I'm also going to clear off my deck up there. And as you can see, the back part of my house, that second roof there, I try to keep the snow about 1 or 2 feet away from the gutters. That way the gutters won't get weighed down with snow and possibly break during the winter. Because those gutters are just vinyl. They're pretty sturdy, but they're just vinyl. And then what I'll do is once the snow is knocked off of this tent, it's all gonna fall down. Then usually, we'll see what happens today, but Little Miss Alaska Prepper will usually come over here and get all of this snow from here and throw it back there. And she'll throw some of this snow right here back there as well. And also, I go ahead and clear this path. I clear a path, or usually Little Miss Alaska Prepper as well. I think, yeah, it clears this path right here, all the way up to that tent. All right, so that's usually what we do after we're done snow blowing. But now let me go ahead and take you and show you how I snow blow my road. We're about halfway done. As you can see, I have to take my hat off. It's getting way too hot. You could probably see me steaming. So we're about the halfway point with the road. I'm gonna go ahead and fill up with gas, and then I'll bring you guys back when I get the road done and I get the tents done. Hopefully by that time, little Miss Alaska Prepper will be out to help me with a shovel. She's still in bed. But just to show you what this looks like out here. Now that back there is like a roundabout. I don't really do that. I come up to about here. I come up to about this point right here. Then I turn around and I go all the way up that road. And I would say that the length of the road is probably about 200 meters. And it usually takes me about 7 times up and 7 times down to do that road. And then in addition to whatever it takes me to do the driveway, which isn't really that much. But ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to show you. Let me turn my camera around here. If you can see my house, let me get closer so you can get a pretty good perspective of how much snow we have gotten so far this year. And look at that. Look at that. I just saw this. See what I mean? That's why I keep... It's a towel. I just noticed there was something stuck in there. There's a darn old towel. Let me throw that over there. I have no idea how that got out there. So it looks like a kitchen towel. I'll throw that away later. But as you can see over here, take a look at the roof of my porch. Now, this is a very good way to show you how much snow we've gotten. We've gotten about 1 foot of snow already. Let's see. That's about 1 foot of snow on top of my porch roof. And the reason this is the best way to show you how much snow we've gotten is because there's no heat coming up from the bottom of the porch, from the bottom of the roof, to melt any of that snow and condense it. So what you see there is a little bit compacted, but not as much as the peak. If you'll see the peak of the house, well, the peak of the house is not as much compacted as it would be later on in the winter, but we've already gotten over 1 foot of snow. And it's not even winter yet. We're still officially into fall. I've been living here for about, I want to say, just almost 6 years, 5.5 years or so. And this is the most snow that we've ever gotten before December since I've been here. I know that 5.5 years or so is not that much of a history, but still, this is the most snow that we've gotten before December 1st that I can remember. I'll look it up and see if maybe we have had, but I don't think so. Starts, and we'll probably get more snow before winter actually starts, which is 21 December. But this is pretty crazy, and it leads me to believe that we are headed into a grand solar minimum. For any of you that study that or that do any research on that, watch the Ice Age Farmer, Adapt 2030, Oppenheimer Ranch Project, those types of channels, you'll notice that during the previous grand solar minimums, Alaska got warmer, but it got more snow. And so far this year, we've been warmer. I had to take my hat off because it's really getting warm, me going up and down. But even if I wasn't going up and down that road, it's still warm out here. But look at all this snow. Now it is beautiful. Look at all those trees. Isn't that pretty? Goodness. Look at that. It is beautiful, but a lot of snow. So that leads me to think that I might have to think up of some ways to mitigate the snow accumulation around my house. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to create like wooden sidewalks in the front and in the rear of my house where I can drive the snowblower easily to get as much snow away from the house as I can. Now that'll be a project for next year, but that's probably what I'm going to have to end up doing, is try to come up with ways that I can take snow off my roof, because my roof right now is good. The most snow that's ever been on my top roof was about 8 feet. That was the year before last. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, if you guys want to take a look at that wall that I was building, Victor and I was building this summer, this is it right here. Well, let me give you a better look of it right here. That's that wall right there. So what we did with that wall is we built that retaining wall there so that we could fill, let me see. There we go. So that we can fill this area right here with backfill with dirt or gravel, so that we can get the cars and the trucks a little bit more off the road. Now the reason that it's not being used yet is it is backfilled, but I wanted to give it the winter to settle and to get really hard before we started parking the vehicles there. So that wall came out pretty good. It's doing the job it's supposed to do. And I better get started because I saw some snowflakes coming down. So I'll bring you guys back once I'm just about done, and then we'll close it out, ladies and gentlemen. We are all done, ladies and gentlemen. So take a look at this. Well, Victor just left for work, so there's a little bit of snow there, but he can get that with a shovel later. So I don't know if you can see that progress was made, but it definitely looks a lot better than it did earlier. There's Dog. Dog. Hey girl, you want to say hi? Say hi. She doesn't know how to talk, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, this is all pretty much done. I got my snow blower all dusted off and filled with gas. So I already did that. So one of the things that I do once I'm done using it is, and I'm going to leave this right here because when I move my truck out of the way, I'm going to turn it on and go through that area there. And in case we get, I think we're supposed to get snow tonight, and if we do, I'll just redo our driveway, but I won't do the main road unless it's a really, really big amount of snow. So normally what I do before I shut off my snowblower is I let it run for about 5 or 10 minutes to make sure that everything is somewhat melted off of the engine area, you know, the gas and engine area. And then I look in here and I make sure that there's no ice buildup or anything stuck in there that would impede the motion of the impeller. And I make sure that there's not a lot of snow in there, because if ice builds up in there, then it's going to get that stuck. All right. And then another thing I do is I make sure that I can get at least one full revolution off of this, just like that. And what that's doing is it's letting me know that there's nothing stuck in there, there's no ice buildup in there, and that next time I go to start it, I should be able to pull on that okay. And I make sure that the button here is on stop instead of run, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off my gas supply. So that's just the gas shut off. I'll leave this like this here for a few minutes, and then I'll come out later on and I'll cover it up. So I'll show you what little Miss Alaska Prepper helped with. She was out here moaning and groaning the whole time. But she really did do a good job. She always does. What's that?
Can I touch the salt with my hand?
Yes. She just finished scraping our stairs, and now she's going to put salt on them. But here is my trailer. I haven't touched this. I'll probably get it next time. But look at how much snow we've gotten, ladies and gentlemen. That's at least a good foot. Or look at the top of the trailer. We've gotten at least a good foot of snow so far this year. And winter hasn't even started. So, as you can see, we went ahead and cleared a little path right here. Got the tent. And little Miss Alaska Prepper usually does this part. Once she clears the top of the tents, she'll get all of this and push the snow out to that side. Got this as well. And if you guys were asking before how much snow does one of these little tents hold, not this one, but that one over there had about a foot, a little over a foot of snow really, because there's a lot of trees here, and for some reason this area here gets a little more snow than the other areas. Don't really know why, but it did get enough snow on top of it where it kind of like made it go in a little bit, you know, like stretched it in a little bit, but it held it well. Nothing ripped. Everything is good. And that one too, you can see that over there a little bit. You see how it's like sunk in a little bit, but once the sun hits that, it'll probably stretch back out. So, but you can see the amount of snow that we've got. It's incredible, really. So, but that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Just take a look at the trees. I mean, it's a beautiful day outside. It was really a little bit dreary this morning, but it's just turned out to be a really pretty day. Look at that. The sun is coming out over there, or actually the sun is starting to think about setting again. So this time of the year, the sun doesn't really come out very much. I don't think that from our house, we can actually see the sun during the day. All we see is sunlight, but we don't see the actual sun during the day because it just pretty much crests over the horizon and then it goes right back down. So right now we're probably getting about, I would say, 4.5, 5 hours of sun a day, roughly, you know, without really looking at any of the Weather Channel, you know, things, you know, how they tell you when sunrise and sunset is and things like that. So I would say about 4.5, 5 hours of sun we're getting right now. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but something like that. You know, not too much, but not really a real small amount like we will here in another 3 weeks or so. We'll probably be down to about, I would say, 2.5 to 3 hours a day. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, well, thank you very much again for joining and coming along on this little ride. I hope you guys have a great day today, and I guess we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I am